We're all set to go here for the ABB FIA Formula E Championship. And welcome to Shanghai in China as we get underway for the Shanghai EPrix. Hello everybody, welcome back then. Here we go for the Chinese EPrix. A doubleheader here in Shanghai, which proves to be, hopefully, yet again, another classic race. It's a dry race today with heavy rain anticipated tomorrow. And in this first race, we still have the attack charge to focus on as well. It's going to be a classic. It's going to be a doozy. We can't wait to get started. It's going to be an all-time great. Let's check in and get ready for the green.
Pushing when others come into pit. Using attack mode to get further up the road when others are pit boosting. By doing this, the aim is to come out either still ahead or in the pack after pitting.
This is going to be pretty important here for Oliver Rowland, but it's worked out perfectly.
The undercut. This strategy is when drivers get themselves into the pit boost window as soon as they can. Using attack mode early, consuming the energy needed to get in the window whilst building a gap or making positions.
Rowland is thinking we're getting close to the pit window, so he's upped the pace, he's gone for it.
Pitting earlier before others and then using the extra energy combined with the extra power of the second attack mode to make back the positions lost.
Nothing that EPrix can do. On the outside goes Oliver Rowland.
Then there's the gamble. Full course yellows and safety cars are common in the battleground of Formula E racing. And with that comes the opportunity to minimise time lost during pit boost. To do that, you need to boost as early as possible, expending energy to get into the window sooner, hoping to capitalise on a stoppage if it comes.
This has worked out quite nicely here for Stoffel Van Dorn.
So there we go, pit boost in a nutshell. Now just to see how it all unfolds on the track.
So it has been a season packed full of drama so far. The anticipation really is building here. We cannot wait for lights to go out. The crowds are ready, we are ready, and hopefully the 22 Formula E drivers are poised and ready to race here in Shanghai.
TNT.
It's time for another race of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Welcome to round 10 of the Shanghai EPrix. We're moments away from the lights going out. Well, welcome to everybody who's watching on FEZ. And this is going to be another classic round of the championship. Here's the current starting grid. We've got Maximilian Gunther taking a surprise pole position. Alongside him is Taylor Barnard as well. This race will include a pit boost challenge. There's a lot to look forward to and a lot in preparation to make sure that this is hopefully going to be a doozy of a race. We want it to be good. We need it to be good. Let's check in again with the world feed.
10% of extra energy that you've got from the pit boost.
You could go with that one, or alternatively, you could take the attack mode after your pit boost and then push on and try and capitalize on these pit stops and make the time that way, allowing yourself to do the undercut, as you said, and jump forward. So I think there's a lot of strategy opportunities. What's great with pit boost is we've seen so much variation around it already in the few races that we've had it. And I'm super excited to see what the team's going to go for today.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes, doesn't it? And I'm always looking at the screen, trying to match the timings that are lost in the pit lane versus the timings that is gained potentially in attack mode by staying out. And there's not a lot in it. What are we talking? Somewhere between 50 seconds and a minute, would you say, lost in the pit lane?
I think it should be around 55 seconds for this circuit. I think the pit lane's quite long. It's a long way to be going at 50 kph. You've got then the pit boost charge itself, which is 30 seconds, 34 seconds stationary. So I think that it's quite a long stop for the guys. Yeah. And ultimately, you could see someone coming out almost in front of the leading pack.
Okay, there's a lot to think about. Just looking here at David Beckman, now this is something that was a bit of a surprise today, because usually, we're not to say that Kiro in a position like this, but this particular Kiro not being Dan Tickton.
No, it's almost the wrong Kiro, but an amazing performance from the young man, you know, in his rookie season. Great to see him, as he said earlier to us, he's performing well on these normal racetracks, something he's more accustomed to. He's not quite as good as Dan Tickton when it comes to driving through the street circuits. That's something that Dan is incredibly talented and very strong at.
Absolutely. I mean, points still evading David Beckman for the time being. Maybe that could change today. Well, let's get down to business, James. Where is the furthest position back on this grid that you can still win the race from?
Da Costa. I think he's the furthest back on the grid where he's got a real chance, especially with how fast his car was in practice.
Okay, that's something to think about, because there's a lot of talented and experienced drivers ahead of him who now will be #1 target for Da Costa to get past.
It will be a huge challenge, but he's got the attack mode. He can use that to jump forward, cycle himself through. I think we're going to see him being very aggressive in the first part of this race.
Okay, looking forward to seeing what happens, as I am to see what this man can do. We haven't seen much of him so far this season, but we know what he can do in a strategy-sensitive race. That man, of course, I'm talking about is Nick Cassidy. There is a lot to be looking forward to, and we go live, and we go...
Now, last year we saw a fair amount of drama at that final chicane, so we thought we would send out Billy Munger to talk us through some of the flashpoints we might expect today.
Turns 10, 11 and 12. A tight technical section of the circuit. We've seen how getting it right in qualifying is critical, but the race, we saw plenty of action here last year. We had the leaders on the last lap going side by side, taking chunks out of each other all the way to the finish line. And this year, I think it could be even more tricky because of this, what I'm standing on right now, the sausage curb that has been placed on the apexes of 11 and 12. It means if you get it wrong, it could be catastrophic. Last year, we saw cars almost cutting this corner to effect and using this inside line. That is not possible this. You might have takeoff if you get it wrong. We've seen drivers going over the top of it in practice and qualifying. It bounces the car. It is horrible to look at. We are minutes away from the start of the race. This, to me, this is a pinch point in the race. Side-by-side action could get messy here.
Thank you very much, Billy. Now the countdown is very much on. James, what is going to happen on the sprint down to that incredibly wide first turn?
Well, I think Taylor has a great opportunity because Pole is on the outside, so Max should arrive there first. But I think Taylor could try and send it down the inside and get himself in the lead of this race at turn 1.
Ooh, okay, that is your prediction. Can Taylor take the lead? And what's going to happen behind? Where is Oliver Olin going to come out after the first lap?
Oliver's going to have to stay cool, calm, collected, keep himself in that top 6 and just make sure he gets through that first lap unscathed.
Okay, well, let's find out whether Oliver Olin can extend his championship lead or with one of the 20 other drivers stand in his way. Moments now before lights out here in Shanghai. We cannot wait.
Welcome to Shanghai, our second time here. It's lights out and we're underway. This is very, very close indeed.
We're in proper race now, let's go. Is this driven straight into the side of me?
Side by side. It's Dan Tickton. Into 5. A fantastic EPrix. Yes!
It's the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, and we are here at the wonderful Shanghai International Circuit. Built in 2004 for Formula One, it's hosted MotoGP, World Superbikes, it's even hosted World Touring Car Races now is hosting the Formula E World Championship. China is the birthplace of Formula E. Beijing was the first ever round of this championship back in 2014. And ever since then, we've tried our best to keep inside the China region. We've had races in Beijing, Sanya, Hong Kong was kept us in this part of the world. And then finally, we returned here to mainland China and Shanghai. Turn 1's opportunity for overtaking. As you can see, the long sweeping 1 into 2. We cut off on the back stretch. We do not go on that long 1.5 kilometre back straight. Attack mode, exit at turn 2. We go straight down towards the chicane and rejoin at that cut-off point on the track as well. It's a wonderful circuit, it's a wonderful venue, and fingers crossed we're in for yet another great race. Attack boost with the attack mode coming in, activating twice, 480 seconds, 8 minutes in total. Energy, 838.5 kilowatts for the 2 races. You get an extra 3.85 kilowatts with the pit boost. Distance of race 1 at 29 laps, race 2 is 28. Safety cars could of course change that. And you're only allowed to pit between 60 and 40% of battery energy. Here's your starting grid then. Mitch Evans starts at the back with a penalty alongside him as Dan Tincton. Sebastian Werme's in 20th and Lucas de Grassi takes over in 19th. Zane Maloney 18th with Antonio Felix da Costa in 17th. 16th on the board comes Robin Fries and Norman Nato takes 15th. 14th comes in for Stoffel Van Dorn, Nico Muller in P13. P12 for Sam Bird, Eduardo Mortawa lines up 11th. And moving further on down the field as well. In 10th position is Jean-Eric Verne. His teammate is on pole, however, so really terrible qualifying for him, missing out on the duels. Jake Hughes starts in P9. David Beckman from the other Cooper Cairo gets through. He goes 8th fastest. Jake Dennis starts in 7th. Oliver Rowland, though, only 6th on the grid. Didn't see that one coming. Got through to the duels, but didn't make it through to the semi-finals. 5th on the grid comes Nick DeFries from Mahindra Racing. Nick Cassidy lines up 4th for Jaguar TCS Racing. Pascal Verline lines up 3rd on the grid for Tag Heuer Porsche. Taylor Barnard on the eve of his 21st birthday lines up 2nd on the grid. But it's Maximilian Gunther who has pole position as he heads down towards the first corner. But leading the race here is not the opportunity you would think it would be. It's an energy-critical, energy-saving race. And 9 times out of 10, you don't want that. Let's check in with our World Free commentators, Tom Brooks, Grun Channock, and Andre Lotter.
For 4th place. So 22 drivers ready to take to the grid for this one. Corinne Chandot, what are we expecting when the lights go out?
I think we're going to see, the driver's instinct kick in, where they do the launch. But quite quickly, they'll try and create this sort of peloton-style formation where they want to save energy. You don't want to drop too far down in the pack because then you run the risk of, you don't want damaging your car in this pack-style racing. But equally, you don't want to be leading this race. So I think once we get through the first half of the lap, we'll see the situation where the leader, weirdly, may not want to lead this race.
It's going to be a strange situation. I hope you stay with us for it. Here we go. It's round 10 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. And we're all set here in Shanghai. Main grandstand is packed out. They know a good race when we see one. Ready to go. 3, 4, 5. Lights out, we're racing in Shanghai with a great start from Taylor Barnard. Verline's going to come through for 3rd position. They'll go right round the outside of both of them into towards turn 1. Verline takes the lead of the race. It would have been a great move if it wasn't so much energy efficient. Gunther backs off. Barnard stays in 3rd. Cassidy has already made his way over to 4th position. He's trying to have a go at Barnard. Around the outside line down towards turn 4. Not really the opportunity opportunity to try and have a go. He's still going to push hard to hard, and coming through on the inside line comes Nick De Vries. De Vries taking through. We're on board with Roland now. He swings to the outside. De Vries trying to go into a defensive position. Got up into third position, has now gone. Pascal Wehrlein, Maximilian Gunther takes the lead of the race. Barnard's under a bit of pressure from De Vries as well, who gets forced out wide with Oliver Roland to the exit of turn 6. Into 7 and 8 we come. Wehrlein's lost the lead. Gunther's retaken it. Wehrlein trying to stay on the inside line, and now we get this peloton-style race of everyone just trying to save energy with 3 wide as we come through into the back half of the track as well. That we will complete the opening lap over to where Formula 1 go through. Barnard's getting forced onto the grass, and now it's all going to pinch up into the chicane moment they go through. Wehrlein leads. Roland down to 2nd position. Gunther in 3rd. De Vries 4th. Barnard 5th. Hughes 6th. Cassidy 7th. Dennis in 8th. Mortara 9th. And Bird has the top 10 as they all squiggle down towards the first corner, darting left and right throughout the entire field. Hughes now down back into where Barnard is into position, and there's a little bit of contact as Barnard gets a little bit of a touch, and into the pit lane to serve his drive to the penalty. It's Mitch Evans. So, in we go. Wehrlein leads, Roland 2nd, Gunther in 3rd. We had 4 different leaders on that first lap alone. Cassidy ahead of Barnard as we head down towards turn 6. Roland looks to the inside line. Again, is he going to go for the lead? Yes, he does. Wehrlein now defends 2nd position away from Gunther and De Vries. Ollie Roland in the Nissan takes the lead of the race. He's the most perfect at these peloton style of races where it's energy efficiency that becomes more key, more critical throughout the race, as now Gunther has taken the lead. That's Evan Wehrlein.
That's what these drivers are doing.
Then mode 2 and maximum efficiency. Full slipstream for now. 2.
Going to be contact down the chicane. We've got 3 wide coming in. That's never going to be good. Roland getting beaten up. So is De Vries. And he's got contact. And a spin round for Cassidy. He does a 360 and continues on. Cassidy gets hit round by De Vries and Wehrlein. And that, well, Joe Sparky throws his hands up in the air. That'll have to be a penalty. Attack mode has been enabled. Says race control, but that'll have to be a penalty. 9 times out of 10 it is. As Gunther attacks with Roland, and Cassidy now gets spun round and sent right back down to 19th place. Van Dorn has taken 4 minutes of attack mode, so he's got half and half at this stage of the race so far. 3 wide coming down towards turn 6. Gunther's taken the lead of the race. There's Hughes, Jake Hughes sending around the outside line of Roland now. He's trying to get the traction on Gunther as well to have the inside line, and does so. So Hughes takes the lead of the race. Roland's trying to pressure in there side by side through turn 7. But it's lift and coast. It's a peloton race. So nobody wants to lead this for long, as Wehrlein and De Vries trying to come back in as well for some momentum. And so far, so good, as they'll continue on challenging up the inside. Roland, Hughes, Gunther, De Vries, Wehrlein. A little bit of contact as they come into the chicane. Gunther's got the lead of the race this time. Bird's dropped back. Barnard was caught up in that melee as well. He's down into 17th place as Roland will try and have a go. Gunther leads lap 4. Fastest lap goes to Freins, but Roland trying to swing around the outside line coming into turn 1. He'll get the traction on the high line and takes the lead of the race away. Bird's already attacking with Wehrlein, looking on the inside. Dennis slips through a Robin Freins as well, trying to come back into position. And then we get behind Zane Maloney and DaCosta in a battle. Brilliant start to this race so far. Unfortunately, it's more of a peloton style. Here's the start again.
He might be able to cycle along. Let's have another look at this incident and down into the final couple of corners. So 3 abreast here in the mid-pack, and he's just going to bottleneck up here.
Yeah, I think Cassidy probably didn't realize that Jean-Eric Verne was on the inside of Mortara, so Cassidy's turned in, expecting Mortara to go to the right. But unfortunately, look, we're on board with Verne. Look, Verne is at the apex, and he has every right to be there, but Cassidy's come across and left Mortara with absolutely nowhere to go. And to me, I think it's just a case of 3 into 1. It's a risky situation there. Arguably, Cassidy's the one who had space on the left to give each other more room.
Knock up from Jake Dennis as he was side by side with Sam Bird for 5th place. Bird, incidentally, has cycled through from 12th up inside the top 5. He wasn't particularly optimistic about his chances down there on the grid. Keep an eye out for Stoffel Van Dorn, by the way, because he's moving his way up the order. He's the only driver actively in attack mode here in this race. So he's decided to get one of those deployments out of the way. early on. Let's see what progress he can make.
I think that's a very, very unusual track here, as Di Grassi's done the same. I think in this style of racing, Tom, you want to keep it for the end. We saw it in Sao Paulo, we saw it in Mexico. The attack mode is very powerful. And if you get to a track where you can overtake, as we're seeing lots and lots of overtaking, I see Tom
Shaking in his seat in excitement.
but you want to keep the attack mode later. If you've got attack mode at the end, as Mitch Evans did in Brazil, you can win this race and overtake a load of cars. So we'll see how it plays out with different people.
Yeah, the attack modes keep coming, left, right, and centre as well, as you can see on your timing screen. So it's quite difficult to try and keep an eye out about who's got what and where as this stands in the race. Van Dorn's got it as well. Di Grassi has taken attack mode now. He's got 3 minutes to go. Roland now too as well. Into come 11. So there's a number of drivers who are getting this phantom attack mode that's flashing up on the monitors, but so far so good. Into turn 1, Roland will go around the outside and he takes the lead of the race but goes off. He gets forced off wide by Van Dorn. Van Dorn's taking the lead of the race. We've got De Vries coming back through. Roland gets forced out wide by Van Dorn as Boemi now takes attack mode as well. Didn't see that coming as well. So Boemi's taken 4 minutes. That's it, 4 and 4. He's gone half as well, but Roland getting forced out was not part of the deal, and I think he might find himself a little bit annoyed with how that is shaped up, unfortunately. Vern now down into 9th place. Dennis in there too. Mortara and Cassidy. No further investigation for causing a collision. So race control seem happy with how that has shaped up as well. Why Dennis is being told that he's in attack mode, he's not. That's Di Grassi, who's moved up ahead a couple of places, as well as... Oi! Off the track goes Sam Bird. Gets sent off to the Netherlands as well. But now they're all 3 wide coming into it, and there's just Constantina upon Constantina. Frien's getting ahead of Dennis. Di Grassi's in there too. Di Grassi's going to have so much more power. He'll pull to the inside line, makes it 3 wide to turn 1. Di Grassi makes up places. De Vries leads. Roland in 2nd place. Gunther's 3rd. Van Dorn 4th. He's 5th. Bird 6th. Di Grassi 7th. How much longer that's going to remain, I'm not too sure. Frien's 8th. Dennis 9th. Muller 10th. Vern 11th. Boemi 12th as well. And look, Frien's already dropping, but hasn't taken attack mode. Frien's just dropping back naturally as Di Grassi sends it around the outside of absolutely everybody into the braking zone down at turn 6 hairpin. He's side by side now with the 11 of... Well, that's it. That's him. He's on side the 55 of Jake Hughes. Now gets ahead of Van Dorn as well. So does both Maseratis and goes up into 4th place. Right, so Gunther now back into 3rd. Roland still 2nd. De Vries leads in the Mahindra as you try and keep one eye on the race. It's such a cluster coming into the braking zone. That's Bird side by side with Friens. And Bird now also gets ahead of Hughes for good measure. Fast lap keeps on changing. It belongs right now to Lucas Di Grassi, 1:12.719. As they all come in towards the first corner. Lap 8 of 29, by the way, of this race. We've still got to have a pit boost. Everybody has still got to make their mandatory stops in this race. Coming through attack mode now. Robin Friens takes 4 minutes. Nico Muller takes 4 minutes. Verline takes 4 minutes. Da Costa takes 4 minutes. So they're all going for a half and half strategy. Nobody going for a 2 and a 6 or a 6 and a 2. They're all going 4-4s, half and half each side, possibly of the attack mode boost. Di Grassi gets ahead of Roland for 2nd position. De Vries is pulled down a gap. He's 6/10 ahead as things currently stand as well. So there's a small breakaway happening at the front. Van Dorn gets ahead of Boemi. He's only got a minute left of attack mode right now. Energy reveal then for the first time in this race, and it shows us they're all at 70% of battery power. NATO's at 75, same as Tictum. Mortar at 74, Cassidy at 76, been sent back to the back. So Cassidy's dropped back to save energy. He'll try and get back with a pit boost challenge and see if that helps him get the net lead of the race. But a terrible race for Jaguar after such a much better qualifying for Cassidy, especially getting forced out. Cassidy has announced he's leaving he's leaving Jaguar, of course, the Jaguar FE team. And he's on the lookout for some other ride for season 12. in the start of 2026. As we come through into turn 3, Degrassi and Roland swapping places. Nobody else taking an attack mode this time by. Everyone knows this is going to be a peloton style one in the Drivers' Championship. It stands. Roland lead on 176 points to Verline on 84 points only, but that changes as quickly as the sun rises and sets. It's not going to be consistent until that checker flag falls. Degrassi moves up to second place ahead of Roland and already changes the championship standings as well. It's one of these things that it doesn't remain constant for very long. De Vries has 3/10 of an advantage over Degrassi as they come through and still swap over several places. And now on the inside, Muller's going for it with attack mode, sending up the inside of the chicane. Is he going to gain a couple of places? But Wemmy's moved up. Muller, I think, has stayed in 8th position. Frines has moved up his way into 3rd place now, actually, I should say, as well. Frines had a demon restart. And he's even trying to take Muller with him. Roland Radio.
To be able to manage the race.
You're one of the highest on in the front, and you've got -2% to cars from the back.
Cassidy's coming to the pit lane, by the way, same as Mortara, so that's where they've dropped behind Mitch Evans. You can see on the driver tracker how far away they are compared to the rest of the field. Podium so far, well, we know that Degrassi's had 41 in his career, most of anybody. He's on course for 42nd, increasing that lead, but we got... he's just been overtaken by Robin Frines on the attack mode, as now Roland goes up the inside line and guns for down at turn 6 as well, retakes that position, and then Muller right there trying to sweep back round the outside and take the pair of them. What a great race so far.
Came through the pack, and this is some of the maturity of Dan Tickton that we're seeing. As I'm interested to see if he plays that game again here today.
Yeah, I think that could be an interesting strategy, and if it works out for some of those drivers who are saving energy in the first half of this race, well, we will see. We'll know when the pit window is open, by the way, because we'll get a graphic coming up against the driver's name. Essentially, a lightning bolt next to the driver's name will indicate that they are in that pit boost window. Meanwhile, we see Nico Muller going past Lucas Degrassi down to the first corner, so Muller's been able to move his way up the field. Robin Frines also making some good progress in this one as well. They're coming towards the end of their first attack mode deployment. They'll be coming to that in the next sort of 15 seconds or so. So they'll be back onto the same 300 kilowatts of power and the two-wheel drive nature of it. So they're trying to make as much progress as they can. We ride on board here with Pascal Verline, who wants to move ahead of 1, maybe 2 cars as he comes down in towards turn 6. It's going to get pretty tight and pretty frantic here. 3 abreast, and Verline on the outside with great attraction, but no room to use it as he's shuffled on to the curb and now comes to the end of that attack mode deployment. So it's even Stevens between them.
De Vries seems very keen to lead this race, isn't he? There's been a lot of times where he's cycled through. I mean, if you look at Muller and Frines from behind him, they started 13th and 16th. You know, none of the other guys who started at the front are keen to stay there, whereas, I don't know, I get a sense that De Vries wants to kind of stay in that top 3 to stay safe, but obviously that's bad for energy, because you're using more energy to stay and cut the hole in the air.
Well, whilst we're sat here trying to dissect the strategy, let's go down to Saunders in pit lane. Saunders, what can you make of the strategy from your vantage point?
I think one thing to definitely be keeping an eye on is for those drivers that haven't yet used their first use of attack mode, because they might be waiting to cover off the first use of pit boost. So effectively taking the gap that they would lose coming into the pit boost away by maximising the time they're out while others are in pit boost. It's a tactic and a strategy that a few drivers have mentioned to me so far this week that they're planning to do. And as Karun rightly mentioned, Dan Tickton was one of those drivers. So we might see an influx of attack mode coming in around about the time that that first pit boost start happening.
Thank you, Saunders. Yeah, we're coming in towards that first pit boost window now. Lap 12 to 29, roughly expected. I spoke to one of the members of the Cupra Kiro team before the start of this race, and they reckoned it was around lap 13 to 17 for them. So we'll see how this is going to work out. We're nowhere near pace that we saw in qualifying, or indeed even practice earlier on today. We're at the 1:14 mark, so that gives you an idea of how much slower it was compared to qualifying. In qualifying, we were down in the 1:08. In 300 kilowatts, sort of normal race speed, we were in the 1:10s, as we see the first pit boost stop being made by Nico Muller. So he dives in at the end of lap 12 then. And a lot of other drivers now coming in towards that window. You can see that with the graphic coming up on the left-hand side of your screen. When that lightning bolt goes from white to green, that means they've activated and taken their pit boost stop.
And there's his teammate trying to use the tactic that Saunders just mentioned there. So Jake Dennis is in attack mode. So is Oliver Rowland. So is Nick de Vries. Now, Rowland is an interesting one. This is exactly the tactic he used at the first ever pit boost race back in Jeddah. And it used it to great effect. He opened up a gap of 4 or 5 seconds. So he's going for that tried and trusted method here. Watch this. This is where we might see Rowland cycling up to the front, although de Vries, the current leader of the race, has also got pit boost. But loads of drivers. Look at that graphic come up top. I think by the end of this lap, pretty much everybody will be in a position to join Nico Muller in the pits.
And Nico Muller now.
Yeah, with you on that one. Look at that attack mode then coming through. De Vries, Rowland, Dennis, Beckman, all on the attack mode. Look how many people are now diving into the pit lane, as you said. In comes Gunther, Da Costa, Van Dorn, Buemi, Bird, Maloney. They're all diving into the pit lane then as they come through, ready for their attack. This is the pit boost time now. Let's head down there.
So that's interesting to watch out, Tom, is what happens when this pack of Rowland, de Vries come into pit. Where do they cycle out compared to Gunther and Da Costa?
Well, teams have got to make a call in this race as well. They can only pit one driver per team at any given time. You can't double stack drivers. They don't have the opportunity to charge both cars at the same time. You see here Sebastian Buemi, winner from Monaco, in the box there as well as a flurry of other drivers. You can see all of the ones that are charging at the moment. Gunther, Da Costa, Van Dorn, Buemi, Bird and Maloney all in the pits for that 34-second pit stop. Meanwhile, Rowland has managed to switch places with Nick de Vries. They've both got a relatively similar amount of attack mode remaining, so I don't think that Rowland is going to be able to build out an advantage, but I wonder if those two might try and work together to build out a gap to Franks behind. Yeah,
I was going to say, I think that's the game they've got to play. And it's not actually with each other or Franks. They're racing Da Costa, Gunther, that group over there. So it's a question of how much they build out to that group. Look, they've come out of the pits, and Dennis is...
That's Muller. That's
Muller
who stopped.
Muller who stopped early and has gone for attack mode. So Muller's trying now to get ahead of Gunther.
He's got him.
He's gone straight for attack mode. So it's what we're looking at is the race of two groups, right? So look from the green symbol on the left-hand side of the timing tower, starting down at Muller. That is effectively Group 2 who have pitted, and we need to see when it shakes out, when everyone's pitted, where Group 1, led by Oliver Rowland, shakes out compared to them. And at the moment, the gap between them, Tom, is about 53 seconds, about a minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Between them.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it's worth just staying on the battle screen so you at home can see the mess that is happening right now with those who have pitted, because Vern and Nato have come in to the pit lane, but attack mode is still activated for half of the field, as you can see. We've just had Gunther take it, so's Da Costa, Buemi, Bird and Nato. Let's hear from Rowland.
At the moment, gap to other group, minus 0.8. They have to
How can you say no threat?
Oh. Yeah, for the first time this year, Rowland seems a bit angry, and you're right, because Rowland's leading this race, but he hasn't got the net lead, as Muller still has that full lead. He has pit boosted, so Muller up goes through. In comes Frines, in comes Dennis then for their pit boost. As more attack modes, Vern takes it, so does Norman Nato, both taking 4 minutes apiece. Rowland still leading, but he's going to have to box this time by. Mandatory stop for an extra 3.8 kilowatts of power to use in the race. Tictum takes attack mode, 2 minutes for him. Frines and Dennis now into the strategy of pit boosting. And now Muller has the net lead of the race over Gunther. The undercut has worked perfectly for him.
Console's out, unfortunately, at the start of lap 16. Comes now to the end of that attack mode deployment. They'll have to keep an eye out for the likes of Verline and Degrassi, etc. behind. They've taken their final attack mode deployments before having made their first pit boost stop. So they're going to be closing the deficit down to the likes of Rowland and De Vries. Verline is only a second, less than a second, in fact, off the back of the race leader at the moment. So let's see if he can make some headway and get track position.
box button.
Hold on, tap.
No, wait. We got one more now.
Copy. Verline 2 cars behind, 1 minute.
He's changed his mind because he's come into the pits. So when he says wait,
and Verline leads.
Had a further conversation because both Rowland and De Vries are in. So We're in the pit lane, and what we're watching is where the group led by Nico Muller is.
I think he was late, so late in the brakes into there. He just about managed to hit his marks, but the FIA keeping a close eye on that one. There's Maloney, meanwhile, getting overtaken by Robin Freitz. Loads of drivers from 12th down to 19th, all in attack mode at the moment. Verline's about to come to the end of his deployment. He's got to keep an eye out for Degrassi. He was only half a second away from him, but he in turn also coming to the end of it. The problem that you've got for Verline and Degrassi, they've expended both of their attack modes in the early stages of this race. The question is, will it now leave them vulnerable to attack at the end of this one once they have made their stops?
Their game is the temperature game that Andre talked about. So here we go. This is the...
Gunther's going for it. Gunther's going for the lead of the race. He's going to get ahead of Nico Muller, but Rollins just going to get out side by side. He just gets out ahead.
So we will be with Da Costa at pit out and Gunther, Muller, Da Costa at pit out. They have used.
So going a couple of laps later's work. Roland has the net lead of the race from Gunther, Muller, Da Costa, De Vries, Buemi, Freins, Maloney, Bird, Vern, Beckman, Nato, Dennis, Van Dorn, Mortara and Evans so far. But that's not going to work because here comes Gunther, who takes the lead round the outside of Roland. Didn't expect that one to come through, did we? But now this race is shaping up to be an all-time classic. Into the pit lane comes the top 5. So they're now also diving into the pit lane. It's all change here.
Tom, this, once it's all shaken out and most of the other cars will come into pit, it's only Cassidy who's left.
Cassidy pits now.
Then we need to come back to, okay, how do we group up in terms of the peloton-style racing and in terms of managing the energy to the finish here? But at this stage, Verline is in the pit, so the effective leader is Max Günther.
Yeah, and he's got one attack mode deployment remaining, as has Oliver Rowland. Yep, so down the start-finish straight we go then. So Günther it is that's now going to lead the way, but where is Verline going to filter back in? What about Degrassi there as well, also coming out of the box? So it is then Günther that leads, Verline in second, side-by-side for fourth between Freitz and Degrassi. The Lola versus the Envision. Barnard's on the outside, as well as Da Costa in the mix there in the second of the Tag Heuer Porsches.
Get 1, 2 behind Gunther, 1, 2 behind Gunther, maximum efficiency.
But the problem for Verline is here, he hasn't got any attack mode remaining, and Degrassi in the same boat.
Yeah, but look at this. Actually, if you look at the top 8, it's just Günther, Roland and Barnard. They are the only 3 who've got an attack mode left. So their tactic, I think, is to wait until the final sort of 3-4 laps and hope that the batteries don't get too hot and they're able to use it. That's the game of playing. Here's the energy. Günther's in a fantastic position with the energy. Look, and so is Roland, because they haven't yet used their attack mode, of course. So that will come down, and Barnard, look at those 3. They're up, but it will be an adjustment when you use attack mode.
Yeah, and Verline did a good track position operation. He must have spent a bit more energy before his pit boost to do a bit of an undercut there, and that's how he came out in front of Roland. But his energy numbers are not looking as good as Günther, for example, or Roland, who he's competing against with.
And also the risk with waiting until later on to use the attack mode. You get a full course yellow, you get a safety car, you get the situation like we had in Miami where drivers couldn't use it.
What about behind?
No one behind in attack. We have same stock than Günther, 2% more than cars around.
That's Roland then, as we get attack mode boosts, as we see a couple of those taking it. My goodness me. So everybody has now taken the pit boost, as you can see. A couple of them on attack mode. What an awesome start we've had to this race as well. It's been one of the less dramatic peloton-style races. It hasn't been as dangerous. The pit boost, I think, has really sort of works in a peloton style. So that's good news. Roland, Barnard still got 4 minutes left. In fact, quite a lot of the field still have attack mode left to play. Verline, Freins, Degrassi, Da Costa, Buemi, De Vries, Muller, Maloney don't, but De Vries and Maloney are on with 3 minutes to go of their attack mode as well, so they still have room to play. It's lap 20 of 29. There are 10 laps to go, including the lap we're on here, as Barnard takes attack mode for 4 minutes. So does Norman Nato. They're out of it now. This will be their final bite of it as they come through. Down to turn 6, Buemi looking at the inside. De Vries and Da Costa closing in as well. We're on board with Barnard, looking ahead to Roland. He's got so much better traction though, but Roland saving energy, lifting off, and through here you go. And Barnard's coming through Verline radio.
The next corner.
We are on the slightly downside on energy, so we need maximum efficiency now, maximum efficiency.
Oh, that's a horrible message for Pascal Verline to receive there. Needs to conserve energy. All the while, he's got a rear-view mirror full of Taylor Barnard, who's going to...
And Barnard's going to go around the outside. Barnard's taking the lead of the race because Gunther's under attack from Verline. So Barnard's jumped the pair of them, and now he, in the McLaren, has got the lead and pulling away. It's 1.111 across the line as Barnard now leads with Gunther second, Verline third, having to save the energy, so Gunther's going to go through. Roland jumps up then, provisionally up in the order, then drops back into 4th position. It's chaotic as anything, this race. It will not give up. Every second you think there's something new, it just goes bang, and it all explodes again. It's a wonderful event as De Grassi, now De Vries, sliding round ever so slightly into the braking zone. We come at turn 6. Barnard radio.
Energy to do so.
Okay, try and get a gap, but be efficient with temperatures.
De Grassi and teammate Maloney were side by side. We've got Nato and Buemi were in there too, and they're still, Buemi's now trying to slice between the side of them as well. So the two Envisions and the two Lola apps in battle. It looks like one of the Lola apps, but as soon as De Grassi, because we're looking back from behind his camera, has lost his front bit of the nose cone tip. So he'll be getting a bit of a draft up there as they come through the chicane. There we go with the inside line. That's Buemi getting ahead of De Grassi. As over the line we come then. Maloney's now passed as well, so Maloney's gone past Buemi. So that attack didn't work out the way he was thinking. Mortara takes 2 minutes of attack mode as he goes forward as well. I think we've just seen something similar from Barnard. Yeah, Barnard's taken it and kept the lead of the race. Gap 2 seconds now. Roland takes his 4 minutes as well, so Gunther's still got 4 to play with. Remember, you must take it for the end of the race. You can't hold back in this strategy. You must take your attack mode. Down we come again then. Roland moves up into P7. Ticktum and Buemi are shifting places. Sam Bird has dropped back into 16th place now as they'll hold it together. But yeah, this is an okay race. It's a strategy that is developing well and it's helping as we ride on board. Fast up for Casti. This is on board with Roland, trying to go on the outside to Costa. You're trying to launch on the inside line as well at Verline. Coming through into the chicane. Blocks off one door. Nato under attack as well from Gunther as he's retaken P2. So Gunther's down into 4th. De Vries down into 5th as Roland's gone up there as well. Over the line we go. It's a hard race to try and keep following this one, but it's been quite energetic in a short, sweet style of racing we've had here. Tomorrow, remember, the rain is due to come. It should be even worse weather conditions with torrential rain. So join us for that here tomorrow on JB Motorsports and Formula E Zone. There's a little bit of a wide moment. Barnard continuing then. He's now out of attack mode. So is Nato. Now, Roland's got 2.5 minutes left. Gunther's just taken the start of his 4 for his run. So Ticktum as well. Jev 2, Bird 2. Let's hear from this.
I need the turn from Norman.
Copy. At Norman attack ending now.
Yeah, but I think
Buemi's got the black and white flag for forcing another driver off the track. So now this race just opens up a little bit more strategy.
he needs to actually get past Norman immediately and get after Barnard because Roland's got 2 minutes left. Barnard is out. Norman Nato is out of attack mode. So this is Roland's opportunity to take the lead of the EPrix.
Let's see whether he can do it then out of the final corner against his teammate, Team Radio.
He needs to help me here. Custom time.
Team orders.
Yeah.
He's going to help you, mate. He's helping you.
And he's done it. Roland's lane through.
Right, there we go. So
Nato is
strategy's
down.
going on there for Oliver Roland. So 1 minute and 30 left for Roland to take the lead of the race back away from Taylor Barnard, both with Nissan powertrains behind them. And look now at Max Günther challenging for third place here as well. Can Roland do anything down into turn 6 for the lead against Barnard? He can, and goes through. So 1 minute and 15 seconds left then for Roland. Günther has got over a minute more remaining compared. He's not far down the road.
He's got one extra lap. He's gone 1 lap later, so I think Günther's in the best position here. He's got a bit more energy. He's up in the second place, and he will have 1 lap extra of attack mode. So Max Günther, to me, is the favourite. Now, remember, Tom, earlier, I was saying, watch Dan Ticktum. He spends the first 2/3 down the back, 70s, 18th places to the cycle through. He is on the same strategy, sort of, as Max Günther, and into the top 6. This could be a great result opportunity for Dan Ticktum. There he is, the yellow car, and he's going to blast past Nick de Vries. The problem for him, look, the gap between him and Norman Natter, that's the gap he's got to bridge in this 1 lap he will have remaining.
Yeah, Ticktum then in 5th place. Let's keep an eye out for him because he said points were the plan. He's started at the wrong end of the grid, down in 21st place after fighting for pole position a fortnight ago in Tokyo. Thought points would be on offer, and he's up in 5th place and in a great position here. A little bit less energy compared to Norman Nato around them, so let's see how it works out for the Briton at the end of this one.
Do you think, Andre, Nato's almost saved too much? Because he's got 2% more, but he's out of attack mode. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you had that energy, you almost need to do what Barnard did and try and use it and break a gap, maybe.
Well, if he can keep with the pack, and at the end, when everyone is out of attack mode, and if he has that bit of extra energy, and there's still some energy management to be done, then he's in a really good position because he can lift later and make some moves.
Okay, this could be the move for the race here, Günther.
My feeling is we pass and we go.
Gunther's going for it. He's got the move down towards turn 1. He pulls to the inside. Max Günther takes the lead here in Shanghai. Jay Penske applauding that one. Oliver Turvey watching on as well from the side. Now, it's going to be a straight fight. Roland's 2% down on energy, but Gunther's going to have about similar soon, with 15 seconds left only of attack mode. So this is going to go down to the final 3 laps of the race here as Mortara has come into the pit lane. I think that's going to be race over for him. Mahindra not done too well there. Jaguar have had the worst day of anybody though. 20th and 21st in the running order so far down the field. It's quite surprising actually how much they've dropped off. Roland now under attack from Barnard, and Nato's in there too. Nato needs to get ahead of Barnard and stop any attacks. I don't think anybody saw what Maximilian Günther coming in to take this one. Nato goes around the outside, makes him into contact with Barnard, who has to take evasive action. They're going to both go off the road if they're not careful. Barnard forces him wide, but really Nato had no room as well to try and do that manoeuvre. And now here comes Dan Ticktum. Ticktum has come from the back of the field to try and take over for a podium's place here, just like he did in Tokyo. Gunther's 3 seconds up the road now, by the way, in the DS Penske. Everybody's taking their attack mode. Let's hear from Dan Ticktum.
Not more steam.
Yeah, same socket straight behind, 1% less than Nato, 1% more than Barnard.
And this is the...
Well, it's now level, actually, as well as Barnard goes to the inside line, trying to get ahead on Ollie Roland. Roland's really trying to defend hard. Barnard can't get the traction. The 2 British drivers are going side by side. Meantime, further back, we've got Boemi having a side-by-side battle with Jake Hughes, and DeCosta's in there too. Barnard's trying to go around the outside of Roland. Roland gives him enough room to force him wide. That allows Nato trying to come through, but Barnard's got the inside line. Coming through, and he forces Roland wide. Nato's trying to place Top Gun as well and be Goose, but he's not helping because Maverick's going all over the road. And now coming through, there goes Nato losing a position to Dan Ticktum, and Jean-Eric Verne coming into play. But Barnard's got 2nd place. It's all gone wrong for Nissan with 2 to go. Barnard now really can just go into the distance. The 2 Nato's under pressure to freeze. Forcing another driver off the track, got a black and white flag, and up into 3rd place. Roland's lost a place because there goes Ticktum. Ticktum takes 3rd place. Nissan 4th and 5th. Their race has gone to absolute pot. Günther leads Barnard and Ticktum. But Jev and Bird are battling over 6th and 7th position as well. What a strange race we've got coming on. Further back, Hughes he's using the last 2 seconds trying to pass to Freeze. Hasn't worked out. Gunther radio.
All under control on our side. 2 laps remaining.
Well, yeah, 1.5 now as we come through. Gunther's got 5 seconds out to the field. He's got 4% of energy. Barnard's just going to try and hold off Dan Ticktum, who's going to go for yet another 2nd position. Roland and Nato want to try and fight back as well. Through the chicane we come then, the back half of the circuit, and it will be one more lap. Is Dan Ticktum going to try and find a way through? It's a British 2-3-4 at the moment as Roland is now under attack from Jean-Eric Verne, who's got past Norman Nato. One final lap to go here in Shanghai. There's a little bit of gravel at the exit there in the last corner as we see Sam Bird trying to go around the outside of Norman Nato. Barnard trying to defend from Dan Ticktum, both with 2% of energy left as well. No attackers left. Van Dorn would just about have his finish by the end of the day. Maximilian Gunn's going to have it. Verne gets ahead of Nato as well, for, as I said, for 5th position. That's now we can focus. Nato tried to fight back. Didn't work. Friends and Buemi are 9th and 10th. Gunther has taken it away by much. Round the outside. Here comes Jean-Eric Verne trying to get ahead. Nato trying to force his way up the inside, and Bird's right there. But it's a poor exit from Roland, and Jev's trying to go right round the outside, coming into turn 7, and he's taken him. Jev goes to 4th, Roland down to 5th, Barnard battling with Ticktum quite hard now. They were side by side coming through. Maximilian Gunther's going to have a field day here, but it's all eyes on 2nd and 3rd as they come through. Ticktum tries to go around the outside, he takes him. Jean-Eric Verne comes out of nowhere. The checker flag falls. 1 DS Penske wins. Maximilian Gunther superbly dominates Shanghai, and it's going to be a DS Penske 1-2 as Jean-Eric Verne is 2nd with Barnard 3rd. Wow, that came out of nowhere! It's a 1-2 for DS Penske, and it is Maximilian Gunther victorious, Jean-Eric Verne in 2nd, and Taylor Barnard in 3rd. Wow! 1-2, and Penske are delighted! You can't tell where the team radio was for Gunther, and the team celebrating in the pit lane. Fabulous race. And let's hear from Karun.
Your pit garage is going completely crazy. A 1-2 for the team. What a race.
Yes! Amazing. Yeah, I mean, what a race. Real masterpiece. We executed it to perfection.
Well, Maximilian Gunther, the winner of the race.
Attack mode strategy, and
you can hear him, Karim. What's he saying?
Yeah, great gap at the end. So mega happy, and congrats to the whole team for a 1-2. Well done.
Max, you played that tactic superbly there. Chose the right moment. How smart did you have to be to pull that pin? Was it just instinct, or how were you calculating that? It was brilliantly timed.
Yeah, it was instinct. I knew I had more energy than the guys around. I had the overlap with the attack. That was our game plan. So yeah, I knew it's time to go.
Well done. Enjoy the celebrations.
Okay, man. We stop outside the FA garage.
So Maximilian Gunther takes the win. A DS Penske 1.
Yeah, and we've got Ticktum stopped for now. Here's some Verne.
For whoever that was saying at the paddock that I was too nice, you know what I think.
Do you have a concern?
That was incredible.
But what a move in the before the last chicane. Like, he passed 2 cars and sent it on the inside and made it stick. Unbelievable. Like, it's crazy what happens in the last lap in these races. It's so unpredictable, and what a great show.
Let's have another look at it then to see how it was all set up. Look at this. What a lunge from Verne down the inside of Barnard, down the inside of Ticktum. Caught the Briton completely unawares. It was aggressive and robust, but he made it pay off, and a 1-2 for the DS Penske team. Their first ever 1-2 finish in any guise.
And Nato, look, Nato's got squeezed by his own teammate. Roland squeezed Nato onto the grass, and then he nearly ran the back of Ticktum. This is on board with Ticktum. Watch, there's a car on the right, and then look, now there he gets squeezed by Barnard as well.
Yeah, Ticktum was looking actually at the P2 at some point, and then just in 2 corners he had to be happy with a P4. It was so annoying.
I'm annoyed I didn't listen to the radio at that point live.
Amazing job. Bsky take their first ever 1-2 finish in Formula E. Maximilian Günther, his 7th Formula E career victory, his 2nd of 2025, and Verne getting the 2nd place podium position on the final corner of that race. 2025. What a frenetic finish. Formula E always corner of that race. What a frenetic finish. Formula E always continues to deliver. Taylor Barnard, I genuinely thought he'd lost the podium in that final half of a lap, but he managed to pull it back from the brink.
But you know what? In terms of the championship, it's a great result for him. 3rd place for him. No points for Verline. No points for Da Costa. That is great news for Taylor Barnard in his fight for 2nd place.
Yeah, Verline fell way back, so their strategy, he was struggling big time on energy, so the energy he had to put in to stay in the front pack didn't pay off.
No, didn't work out at all there for both of those drivers, unfortunately. It's heard that they were critical on energy in the closing stages of it, and ultimately it cost them points here this afternoon.
And it's such a vicious circle. If you're down on energy, you have to lift earlier. It means you arrive with less speed, so you regen even less. So it's a bit of a downward spiral that you can't get out of.
So the 2 Envision cars have ended up in the points, as did Sam Bird, and really mentioned them. They sort of snuck in, didn't they, in the stuff going on right at the end. There's Tictum upset about that.
Good try, Dan. Good try.
He'll be disappointed with that, but I tell you what, that was an incredible result for him. Also, exactly as you were just saying about Envision as well. Buemi started down in 20th on the grid. Freins only 16th.
Oh, no.
Yeah, as Andre said, I mean, it's so fun.
It's having a bit of a glitch.
Lighted with the 4th place. Now, as Andre said, they were staring at 2nd until 3 corners to go. And it's motor racing is an interesting thing. Your expectations change, and now he's disappointed with 4th.
Can't believe how Norman Nato just cut the chicane and it was straight into the back of, who was it?
Tictum.
Tictum, yeah.
Well, an amazing job. There is Dan Tictum. And a wry smile there.
This is actually a tactic that, as I was saying, we saw him use in Misano last year. They were nowhere for the first 2/3. He finished 5th. He's done the same thing here, finished 4th. I'm surprised more people, you know, who are not at the front aren't doing that, just banking, because he's 4% up and then used it all at the attack mode.
The thing is also this race, people were not trying to save energy for the end.
Let's go down and catch up with our winner then, Maximilian Günther.
Maximilian Günther, this has just been one of those days for you. Nobody could touch you in quali, and nobody could touch you in the race.
Yeah, amazing day. I don't know, did we get fastest lap as well, or somebody else? Yeah, I mean, anyway, it's just amazing. 1-2 for the team. I'm so happy. Yeah, real masterclass this race. I think the strategy, the pace, the execution, the moves, everything was nice. And yeah, at the end I knew when I've got the overlap on Oli and more energy that, yeah, I just have to go and get my head down and yeah, try to disappear, which we managed. And yeah, extremely happy.
And as you said, the team's first ever 1-2 finish, and you led the way. How much will this mean to them?
It means a lot, especially after these last few weeks where the momentum was not on our side. This weekend we certainly got it back, and yeah, a lot of hard work and very happy for the whole team.
Congratulations, Maximilian.
Maximilian Günther takes his 7th career win, his 2nd of 2024, rather. Let's go down and catch up with his teammate, Adias Penske 1-2.
Jean-Eric Verne, where on earth did that come from?
Yeah, what a race. I mean, it's been a roller coaster. I left a little bit of my front wing in the last corner. I think a bit of my wrist as well. Yeah, I was suffering the whole race. Yeah, I really hurt it, but honestly, I don't know. I just went for it. I think we did the right call, keeping the attack quite late. And everybody was, yeah, attacking a lot, and I thought that since everybody is doing that, maybe I should save a bit more energy and try to use it towards the end. And it paid out quite nicely.
And that radio message about being too nice, did you feel you had something to prove?
I I mean, I don't have anything to prove, but maybe some people wanted to, thought I was too nice, so I guess, yeah, I guess I'm not.
Congratulations, Jean-Eric Verne.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. Verne taking his first podium since Portland last year. Let's catch up with Barnard.
Taylor Barnard, another podium in Formula E. Talk me through your emotions right now.
Honestly, my main emotion is I'm a bit confused. I was sitting in the back for a very long time. So I was quite good on energy, but I was not really, I didn't understand how the race was playing out. And then obviously the team did a great job with the strategy because I came out of the pit lane in 6th. I was like, okay, now I can fight, but I need to look at the race after to understand a little bit better what's actually happened.
And also that fight in the last few corners, what on earth?
Yeah, I mean, I was really struggling on energy the last couple of laps, so I did my best in the last couple of corners. I think they tripped over each other a little bit, which is why I could stay on the podium, but look, I'm super happy to get another podium. It's another 15 points in the bag, so yeah, very happy.
Huge congratulations, Taylor.
Taylor Barnard then, another podium finish in 2025. Just incredible results. That is now the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th podium of 2025. What a season, what a first full-time rookie season the British driver is having. Turns 21 tomorrow, and everything he touches seems to turn to gold. There he is, down in Parc Fermé. Speaking of gold, it is the black and gold cars taking their first ever 1-2 finish. Penske scoring their first ever 1-2 finish under any name in Formula E history, including their previous guys as Dragon. The Penske name has only incidentally won twice in Formula E, with Günther earlier on this year in Jeddah, as well as here today, and with Verne in Hyderabad back in 2023 as well. Günther takes his 7th Formula E win and now ties on overall victories with Oliver Rowland as well. And the celebrations about to begin down on the ground here in in Shanghai rather, I should say. Looking forward to seeing the drivers celebrating amongst one another. But before we do that, let's head down to Nicky and the crew on the ground here in Shanghai.
Well, we had plenty of predictions coming into today. But a 1-2 for DS Penske was not one of them. Remarkable scenes here in Shanghai, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see the reaction of the team. That's been a result that they would have been absolutely desperate for. A 1-2 in Formula E doesn't happen very often, and particularly where they were starting today. Günther, okay, he had a solid weekend so far, but for Jean-Eric Verne to join him in 2nd place, remarkable result.
Yeah, absolutely. Jean-Eric Verne was P10 in qualifying, so really did have a point to prove, as he messaged on the team radio. But let's talk strategy, because we know today it is so important to get that pit boost strategy right. Oliver Rowland, who started in P6, obviously was fighting at the top towards the end, but ultimately finished in P5. The strategy maybe didn't quite go his way today.
Yeah, I thought there was one moment in the race where he was using attack mode and pushing clean air, and in terms of efficiency, which is what that race was all about, it wasn't efficient whatsoever. So he drained a few %, and that's why I think you saw Günther with that attack mode at the end. He came past him pretty easy and was able to open up that gap and just control the race to the end.
And then, let's talk once again. We've said his name so many times this weekend. Rookie Taylor Barnard. I mean, unbelievable. Back on the podium again. And what the quality of racing that we saw from him in those latter stages of the race. He was defiant. That P2, he had elbows out, didn't quite happen, but still it was a great result.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it felt like he had almost used too much energy too soon on that last lap to defend to Dan Ticktum in turn 1. It felt like, oh, this could hurt him later in the lap. It did hurt him, but he was there to capitalise when Jean-Eric Verne made that dive-bomb pass for 2nd on Dan Ticktum in the last corner, and he was there just, you know, picking up the pieces, getting onto the podium. The racecraft on display, he is so aggressive in his defending. Some drivers might not be happy with some of those situations, but the end result for him is a podium, so he'll be very pleased with that.
Yeah, let's talk about that moment with Dan Ticktum down at turn 1, who was really going for the pass on Taylor Barnard. Didn't quite work out, though.
Yeah, I think you could see a bit of frustration from Dan afterwards, because he was going for P2 into that last corner and he's not even made it onto the podium. So the frustrations will be there, and he did lose a lot of time in turn 1 as a result of Taylor's defending. So I think he'll be a bit frustrated.
Okay, well, it's going to be a very special podium here for the DS Penske team. Let's go back to our commentator, Tom Brooks.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Nikki, then. So there are our 3 drivers ready to take to the podium. A first ever 1-2 finish for DS Penske and a 5th podium of 2025 for Taylor Barnard. Moves up to 2nd in the Drivers' World Championship now here as well, ahead of Verline and Da Costa, both of whom actually failed to score despite their strong performances in the start of that race. Jay Penske, though, delight for the American team principal, who makes his way onto the podium to celebrate with the team here. As I said, their first ever 1-2 finish. Gunther taking his 7th career Formula E victory, and Jean-Eric Vergne taking his 37th Formula E career podium as well, moving into within 4 of Lucas Di Grassi's all-time record. Now time for Taylor Barnard to make his way onto the rostrum. Podium number 5 for the driver of car number 5, Taylor Barnard. He's finished in every position on the podium but the top step. Surely it is only a matter of time for the soon-to-be 21-year-old as he celebrates there with Alejandro Agag and Jeff Dodds. Moves his way onto 3rd position, the podium for the Neon McLaren team here. Another set of trophies for the team to take home. And of course, 24 hours time, we get to do this all over again as well. Now, 2nd place for Jean-Eric Vergne. An incredible end to that race. Really got his elbows out in those final couple of corners, and it's reduced Phil Charles down there to tears in the Parc Ferme area. And Jean-Eric Vergne, 2nd position for him. That 1-2 finish for the team. And the team taking their first win since Jeddah earlier on this year in February. Vergne celebrates there with Taylor Barnard, but the man of the moment is this chap, Maximilian Günther. His 2nd win of 2025, his 7th Formula E career win for the driver of car number 7. And what a lucky number it's proven to be here in Shanghai, China, as he makes his way onto the top step of the podium for the 2nd time this season. Brilliant strategy for that one. Great energy conservation in the middle stages of this race. And right at the end of that one, he was able to pull out a gap that was never to be seen again at the end of that one. 7 seconds, the final winning advantage for the German driver. And now time for the national anthems of our winning driver and winning team here in Shanghai.
And now, the national anthem of the winning driver from Germany.
The German national anthem plays out for Maximilian Günther here in Shanghai. And now time for the national anthem of our winning team, DS Penske.
And next, the national anthem of the winning team from the United States of America.
Maximilian Günther, his 7th career victory in Formula E here in Shanghai. A first ever 1-2 finish for DS Penske. And now time for the trophies to be presented.
Congratulations to all our
First of all, to the winning team.
Manfred Sandbichler, Senior Director of
DS
Hankook
Penske,
Motorsports Europe,
the winners, of course, here in Shanghai.
Team, DS Penske.
Manfred Sandbichler, the Senior Director of Hankook Motorsports Europe, gives the trophy to DS Penske, and he holds it aloft here in Shanghai. Visible emotion there for Phil Charles, and no surprise at all. Came into that team just over a year ago.
Please welcome Sami Attia, President of Robotics and Discrete Automation and member of the Executive Committee at ABB, to present the trophy to
Sami Attia from the ABB group presents the 3rd place trophy once again to Taylor Barnard. That's his 3rd place trophy of the season, his 5th podium overall of the year.
Please welcome Lo Wenhua,
4th
Deputy Director of the Shanghai Administration of Sports, to present the trophy to
now
the
time for the 2nd place trophy to be presented to Jean-Eric Verne, a 37th career podium for the fast Frenchman. An amazing last corner overtake from Verne to secure that 1-2 finish for the DS Penske team.
Next, on behalf of Mohammed Ben Sulayem, FIA
and now
President,
the FIA President's Medal presented by Alejandro Agag.
To present the FIA President's Medal to Maximilian Günther.
To Maximilian Günther. Great job from Max Günther there. And yeah, he'll be absolutely delighted with that one, no surprise at all. Pole position and the race victory. Now time for the winner's trophy to be presented then to Max Günther. Fantastic from the German driver. Delight for DS Penske here in China. And now time for the champagne to be sprayed. Run and take cover for the dignitaries. And the celebrations begin.
What an absolutely wonderful event we have then coming into tomorrow. It's champagne time here. We look forward to joining us tomorrow, where rain is in the air here in Shanghai. It's going to be a classic. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.